Good morning, this is the We Don't Know show. Sandra, would you like to test the...
Hello people, it's Sandra Bellamy here.
That seemed to work. That's okay. Sandra, just say a bit more about yourself. But the listeners will realise that you are a guest.
Yay! So, thank you, Will, for having me on your show today. I'm really excited to be here. I'm Sandra Bellamy, and me and Will met at Tech Exeter event. Shout out to them. And I'm known as the Asexual entrepreneur, aka Asexualise, and I specialise in asexuality, which is a sexual orientation that's based on the lack of sexual attraction. So I thought I was heterosexual for years. And then in 2014, I discovered I'm not actually heterosexual, I'm hetero-asexual. So I'm still attracted to guys romantically, aesthetically, and in lots of other ways, but I'm not sexually attracted to them. So I mistook my high levels of arousal for sexual attraction years ago, not realising they're two completely different things. And so I'm here to talk about asexuality with Will, to talk about tech and lots more things, and you can check out my YouTube show called Asexualise, My Asexual Life, which has had over 1 million views. And I've also been featured on the Jeremy Vine show, BBC Radio Devon.
No, that's enough. You can mention all of those later on.
Oh, all right then.
Yes, I'll just say I think this is great because the Tech Exeter breakfast monthly, the first Thursday of the month. So I've missed the one that was on the 1st of May, but there will be one in June presumably. So we might report back there. The thing is, it's exactly the same time as the drama show, and I'm trying to present the idea of a radio or social media equivalent to radio somewhere in the middle of Exeter. So I've proved that you can walk from the Phonic studio in the Phoenix to the Innovation Hub. You can do that in about a quarter of an hour. You could be there for half an hour, and you could walk back in a quarter of an hour. So you could do a radio show if you had all the equipment that included that journey and that conversation, but actually it doesn't work like that. Radio is quite different to that. So it's going to work much better in a studio with these wonderful microphones. But the idea of spreading radio about is technically possible.
Sounds good. Did you go through Northern Hay Gardens, by the way? It's a shortcut, because I came through Northern Hay Gardens today, and it's a shortcut because I've got fibromyalgia, which is an unseen disability, and I like to do things in the quickest amount of time. And so so I went through Northern Hay Gardens. That's like a shortcut. It cuts like all the city centre out and gets here really quickly. Plus, it's beautifully scenic as well.
So where were you coming from?
So I went down the side of Boots.
Right.
So I came from, I live up by the Odeon Cinema, actually.
Right.
So I came down Sidwell Street and then hit the High Street. Not literally hit it, but
yeah, I know what you mean.
I went down by Boots, and then you go down there, the side of it, and then you go straight ahead down Northern Hay Gardens, and, and then you go just straight through it, and then you come out, and then you turn left.
So you came down by the side of the library to get down to the Phoenix?
No, I didn't have to go down by the side of the library. It cuts it out, so it comes out just in between, like near Central Station. Oh
right, okay. And then you came back from Central Station.
So where Boots is, like side. There's before you go to the entrance. There's between Waterstones and Boots. Yeah. There's a little lane. Like
yes.
Yeah. So you go down there, and straight in front of you is Northern Hay Gardens.
Oh right, I'm with you.
The gates are open.
Yeah. So I was getting confused with what I think they call Rougemont Gardens, the by the castle.
Yeah. Yeah, Northern Hay Gardens is the other place. They do some free entertainment activities sometimes in Northern Hay Gardens.
They have a food festival there.
Yeah, and Exeter Pride. They had stuff going on there last year for Exeter Pride.
Right.
Because asexuality is part of LGBTQ plus IA, the A standing for asexual and some other things. So that's a connection to Exeter Pride.
Right. Okay. I think I'm going to play I'm going to play one of your tracks. You will come on later to your experience with radio, because it's part of what's going on here. But this Living Joy. Dreamer.
Really classic.
Explain it a little
track. Living Joy Dreamer is a very upbeat, up-tempo song. And I really love it because I like to be vibrant and full of energy, and I think it represents me and what I want life to be like for people.
Okay. So why did you select that track?
So that's very interesting you asked that question, because obviously you might think it's quite sexual. So as an asexual person, because my brain doesn't think of sexual stuff, I don't think about that being in the lyrics. So when I think about Living Joy and Dreamer, for me it's all about living your dreams and being happy and living in joy, and I tend to, my brain tends to filter out the other things, and I don't tend to focus on the sexual aspect. I tend to focus on the other meaning for me personally. So I do that with quite a lot of songs actually. There's quite a lot of dance songs, and some of it have really highly sexual lyrics, but sometimes my brain thinks it says something else. Like if someone says they're in ecstasy, I'm thinking about, oh, I'm having a great time in my life. This is amazing. This is high octane energy. I'm feeling in an ecstatic state. And then I realise, I think this is meant to be sexual, Sandra. I'm like, but I don't think that way. So I don't even notice some of the times the lyrics. What I listen to in that is Living Joy Dreamer and living up to your dreams and going for your dreams, which is what I'm all about. And then the more I listen to it, I'm like, oh, we'll think like, why am I listening to this? Because it's like hands and lips all over my body. But I am a hyper romantic, and I am a hyper kisser, even though I'm asexual, which is quite rare for asexuals. A lot of asexuals aren't into kissing that much. I'm a hyper kisser, which is rare. I've never heard of anyone in the world being a hyper kisser. You're looking puzzled.
So when did you realise this?
So I realised I'm asexual in 2014. So basically I went to see a counsellor because the expectation of sex at the end of the night with a heterosexual guy was making me almost want to wet myself. So it's like a really scary feeling for me. This is so I have had sex in the past. I thought I was heterosexual. I'm going to say I am heterosexual, but I'm not. I thought I was heterosexual. So back then, when I had my last long-term boyfriend, that relationship ended in 2011, I thought I was heterosexual. I used to call myself heterosexual. But then after that, I like young guys. I'm like into younger guys. So I'm an asexual cougar. If you are okay with that phrase, I'm fine with that phrase, because it kind of separates me from people who would go for someone more their own age, I guess, but I'm not interested in my birth certificate age. So in 2013 there was this hot Bangladesh guy I was in a relationship with, but he actually cheated on me because I didn't want sex, and that's when I started to realise there's something really different about me. He was really aesthetically hot, I loved kissing him, but it's I didn't want sex, and I'm like, there's something weird going on here with me, and so then when I did some more thinking, I went to see a counsellor, and I told her that I told her about the fact that, guys expect me to have sex with them at the end of the day, and it's making me almost want to wet myself, and it's really disheartening for me, and I really love kissing and cuddling, but don't want the sex. And she's saying the worst thing possible to me. So she's saying you're going to have sex in order to keep a good guy. And I was just absolutely horrified. I'm like, how can any guy be good for me if he's wanting me to do something in order to get love? And that's a damaging message that's sent out from society and people, that's, in order to be loved, you have to have sex. And this counsellor, she's a professionally trained NHS counsellor, she was telling me this, which is not what she should have been saying, because obviously that's not unconditional love, and also that isn't love. Love isn't sex. People go out, for example, to nightclubs and they have sex with people they don't love, so obviously sex and love aren't the same thing. And you can love without sex, and that's basically how I feel. Is if I love someone, I'm not interested in their genitalia. But that's how I found out I'm asexual. So it wasn't the counsellor that told me I'm asexual. After that, I was so horrified that I went and googled asexuality. I went and googled I love kissing but not sex, and then it came up with asexuality, and then it came up with asexuality.org, which is the biggest online forum for asexuals. And I'm like, oh my god, there's loads of people like me who want a romantic relationship without sex, for example. And I was like, oh my god, I literally thought I was the only person in the whole world that felt the way I do. I thought, I'm never going to find someone for a relationship. I'm still single at the moment, but happily single right now. But, you know, I thought it was impossible to find someone without sex in a relationship, and I thought I had to have sex in the past because that's what society dictates, that you have to have sex in order to be loved, in order to have a healthy relationship. That's what's normal. So in my past relationships, I had sex with some of my ex-boyfriends at the obviously when I was in a relationship with them at the time, because that's what we're taught to do as a society. I didn't know any different. And so it was only then, like back in 2013 and then going to the council in 2014, I just knew during that period of time I couldn't do it anymore, couldn't bring myself to do it anymore. So I'm sex repulsed these days for me, but not for other people. So other people that like sex, want it, enjoy it, is consensual, I'm fine with that. You know, if everyone's happy doing that, that's great for them. But I personally don't want that for me. But I love kissing so much, and I have and I'm like a very rare asexual, because like I said, most asexuals don't like kissing. I'm a hyper kisser, and what that means for me is, which I've never heard anyone else use this term, is I can kiss for up to 4 hours or more and then get bored nearly non-stop.
Wow.
So yeah, it's pretty, I've come across hypersexuals. So I met someone online who was a hypersexual, and they were like, you know, they're able to have sex for like an hour and a half. And I'm like, I don't know how they do that without bits dropping off. But
well, no, hang on. Just to say, I think it is. This isn't exactly a breakfast show, but it's sort of daytime-ish. So don't
you be having this discussion at any time of day?
Well, you can, but you can't go into some details. I think we could skip over.
Am I going to get banned now?
No, I don't think so, no.
But I think there should be more open, honest communication about relationships and sex.
Sure,
things,
yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, and I'm a hyper kisser, I'm not a hypersexual. I wanted to make that clear, because some people don't know the distinction. When I'm not interested in sex personally, I'm interested in just the kissing. That's it for me.
Right. Well, that will make sense.
Oh, good.
So, just to sidetrack a little bit, because you're obviously into communications,
yes,
and all of those things. So I wonder, before these events in your life, what sort of content were you covering? What did you write about? What did you talk about?
So my first book came out in 2015 about redundancy, actually. So I have a background in retail sales management, which is very different, and I helped people who are redundant to get back into work. So I have got a book on Amazon, along with a lot of other books, including my asexual books, and it's called Break Through the Barriers of Redundancy to Get Back into Work, an A to Z how-to guide. And it's still very effective to this day, because it literally teaches people how to take job descriptions and person specifications and match their CV and their cover letter to those job descriptions and person specifications, so that people are more likely to get interviews and get back into work. It also goes through all the mindset when you're redundant, because I've been made redundant a number of times in my life, 3 times, and I've also been in management. So I've got the knowledge of the management side of things, recruitment, and also being recruited as a person who was redundant. So it gives an overall good balance of both sides.
Right. Well, I am interested in all of those things, but we won't get into it. My main thing was just how these different elements in what you're doing fitted together and how they came about. So in other words, the communication skills existed before this, but this is what I notice is that you do concentrate on this topic now.
Yeah, so I started my YouTube show on asexuality in 2015. I started holding meetups that year as well, asexual meetups, in-person meetups. So although I found out I'm asexual in 2014, 2015 is when I started my actual YouTube show. And I used to work at hospital radio years ago, so I have a background in media. I studied media studies at college, so I've always had an active interest in media. So I've done like work experience at radio stations, in newspapers and stuff like that. And then when I started doing my YouTube show, I kind of knew spiritually as well, because I'm a spiritual person, that it's my life purpose to get asexuality recognised as a sexual orientation in its own right throughout the globe, so no asexual lives in fear of ridicule ever again. And I believe, because I've been a leader with my retail background, like in management, leadership roles, that I have a loud voice, especially because I've done hospital radio for years, I was hospital radio presenter for years, that I can be a leader and a voice to the people who can't speak for themselves or don't want to speak for themselves because they're scared of what society will say. Because a lot of people don't come out about being asexual because it's scary, because a lot of people are like, you're not normal, you're a weirdo, you're frigid, something's wrong with you, you're dysfunctional, which is not true. But a lot of people are scared, so I can use my background as a manager in the past, my leadership roles, as well as combining my sexual orientation to bring asexuality to thought leaders, which is what I do. So I combine actual entrepreneurship nowadays with asexuality. So I've got a Make Money Make Cash channel, which I teach people how to make money online.
Right.
I'm known as the asexual entrepreneur on there. So whatever I do, I always talk about asexuality to fulfill my life mission. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. But I'm going to play a short track while I load up some more of your tracks later on, because I think we don't have a producer on this show, but JD is the producer on the Wild Show, which is the same time slot tomorrow. He reckons 5 minutes for chat is about long enough, unless he's involved in it when it goes to 10 minutes.
Oh, have we been talking for 10 minutes?
Well, I don't know. I've lost track of time, really. I just feel every so often we should have a track.
This sounds good.
So this is King Curtis. So this is the We Don't Know show. Sandra Bellamy is here still.
Hello.
Sandra, you can stay till 12, yeah, roughly speaking.
Yes, I can.
We'll probably stop about 1:45 just to tidy up a little bit and make sure the studio's in a good condition for the next show, because we've only got the one studio here on Phonic. But I just wanted to explain a little bit what we've been doing in between the records. So I've photographed your first book, Asexual Perspectives. When did that come out?
That's my first asexual book.
Asexual book, sorry,
the redundancy one in 2015. So this came out in 2017. So it's called Asexual Perspectives, 47 Asexual Stories, Love, Life and Sex, a celebration of asexual diversity. So it basically is to show asexuality in real life context, not just textbook definitions of them. So I interviewed 46 asexuals around the globe and across the asexual spectrum, because asexuality is a spectrum, which we haven't dived into yet. And therefore people can get different perspectives on different questions to do with love, life and sex, such as what's the difference between I'm mindful of the morning show now. You know, I was going to say what's the difference between like arousal and sexual attraction, for example, if I'm allowed to say that on a morning show.
Well, sorry, I've just been no, we've got a fairly open approach. I'm just noticing that we might go off into things which we wouldn't normally talk about daytime, but do carry on, I think.
Yeah, because there's extra sound alternative, so you're listening to a different sound in the morning today. So I also ask people questions like, if you were if you were to give advice to someone who just found out they're asexual, what advice would you give them and stuff like that? Because there's a lot of misconceptions and stereotypes about asexuality, what it is and what it isn't. So, for example, asexuality is not abstaining from sex. It's not a choice. It's a sexual orientation where you literally don't have a lack of sexual attraction. It could be you don't experience any if you're pure asexual, or you can experience sexual attraction, but only under limited, rare or specific circumstances. You'd be a grey asexual. So you have a spectrum from the people who are asexuals, pure asexuals, who don't experience any sexual attraction, going up throughout the range to the grey asexuals who might experience it, just not the full range that a normal heterosexual, if you like, would experience, if that makes sense. I'm keeping it very basic for your listeners here.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Yeah. I just wanted to mention that I'll just explain the simple social media that we've got on the We Not Know show, which is an account on what used to be Twitter, which is now X, WENOTNO. So I've photographed the book on my phone and retweeted it, so you can, if you still use X, you could find it there. but you've done a short as well.
Yeah,
Just explain that quick. We'll come back to shorts later in the show, but just let people know.
So I have an asexual channel called Asexualise, my Asexual Life, and in my channel description it actually has on that channel my book, which is called Asexual Perspectives, 47 Asexual Stories. That's the main title, and then you've got the Love Life and Sex, A Celebration of Asexual Diversity is the subtitle. So all you have to do if you want to find me on X, I'm on X at Asexualise as well, at Asexualise with an S, and because it's spelled Asexualise, that's how I spell it. There's an American spelling with a Z as well. And so I've got asexualise.com, which is my website as well, so that book's on there. But if you just type into Amazon Asexual Perspectives, 47 Asexual Stories, it will come up just like that, because it's available to buy on Amazon. So it's got a purple and orange cover, and every person in the book has their own individual interview. So it's me asking questions to different asexuals about questions that I get asked all the time about asexuality, when people don't know about it, and you can discover like how young some people are. Some of them are like 11 and 12 years old when they discover they're asexual, which is really, you know, like mind-blowing for some people. So, you know, you can find it out at a very young age, even at school age, that you're asexual. It's good to talk about this. It should be educated in schools, because there are some kids that are feeling, especially when they get to their teens, you know, and kind of like a lot of boys and girls are like hormones are going, and if they're not feeling the same, like they might, like a lot of boys and girls might be talking about like, you know, things they're doing and other people, you know, like when I was at school, for example, they used to talk about the words getting off, which, you know, I didn't even know what that meant really, and I'm like, what is that? I knew it was a sexual term, but when you're at school, like if you're an outsider, if you don't understand that type of language, or, you know, people are like, oh, this guy's or girl's so hot, and they just go after them, especially when they get to like the age of 14, 15, and there's children, you know, you're at school and you're just thinking, I don't register that, I don't feel like that, I don't have those same feelings. It can be very isolating and feel very lost and lonely. So I put together the Asexual Perspectives book, interviewing different asexuals, so there's different relatable stories, and it includes like people who found out they're asexual very, very young, so that they can like read the book and see, am I asexual? Is there something different about me that I have, you know, I have these people that like me and didn't realise. So it's a really good book.
So you've also got an academy website.
Asexualise Academy, yeah. So that's more, is that academic sort of training? Yeah, so
direction.
I've got, at the moment I've got 3 courses on Thinkific, so it redirects to my Thinkific school, and it has Asexuality Basics for Beginners course free on there, which is like a video training course that people can go to. So if they want to understand the basics of asexuality more, they can go to Asexualise Academy and like go through the link, and they can go to my Thinkific site and platform, which obviously Thinkific is the hosting platform, and I've got like a mini training course on there with all different videos that they can go watch, teaching you the basics of asexuality, the basics of the asexual spectrum. And so it's really interesting. And then I've got a couple of other courses on there, which are how to arrange asexual meetups, because that's what I did for about over 5 years. So in-person meetups with other people in the UK. They used to come to Exeter to my in-person meetups, because when you meet people in real life, it solidifies your sexual orientation, it solidifies your asexuality. You realise it's not some abstract thing, it's not some thing that's like, you know, a lot of people like can make fun of people going, oh, you know, it's not a real thing, asexuality, it doesn't really exist. Well, I exist, I'm real, books for asexuals exist, clothing for asexuals exists. I produce, you know, I do designs for asexual t-shirts that are on Amazon, for example, and Redbubble as well, and, you know, there's a lot of us all spread around the globe, all spread around the world, but, you know, even in the UK, I bring people together in the UK, and I did that for 5 years. Just life's changed a bit for me now, so I haven't done it for a little while.
So how do you maintain the academy aspect of it, like an online learning approach, as well as a sort of campaigning approach? Yeah,
so at the moment it's just like housing my courses on there. It's not something I have to maintain myself because it's maintained by the Thinkific team. So
sorry, say that again.
Thinkific. So Thinkific is a learning platform where you can host your courses.
Oh, right.
So as we're talking about tech now, this would be a tech thing, right?
Yeah.
So there are things like Teachable, which is another hosting company for courses. Udemy, obviously you can produce courses and put them on Udemy. So these are all hosting platforms. So you don't have to host it on your own website, you host it on their servers. So I had to create the video training courses and upload them. The Asexuality Basics for Beginners course is free. The other two are paid for courses, which teach people how to host their own asexual meetups and go really in depth on there. One's an online course, meeting asexuals online, the other one's in person, and you get the online one free with that at the moment. So
right, but the platform take care of all of that.
Yes, that's right. So you can I can build my own websites even though I can't code, so I could host them on my own websites, but I don't have that knowledge of how to go about coding to put them on my own website.
Right.
So I've currently got them on Thinkific. I had them on another platform, but unfortunately during the pandemic that actually ceased to be in existence because their business. That's the only problem when you're using your own platform. Obviously, then you're responsible for your own website and stuff. But when you're outsourcing, if something happens to that company and they fizzle out, they go bust or whatever happens to them, or they can't sustain the business, then you've got to find another platform. And unless you can download those video training courses, you've got to have like a hard drive or something with them on, then upload them to somewhere else.
Right.
So does that make sense?
Yeah, surely.
So I mostly coach live during evening, like late night sessions on my Asexualise, my Asexual live channel for free. Like I do educational content at night. I've just got back into doing that because I had some personal difficulties that I had to take time out. So it's just really uploading shorts lifestyle videos on my Asexualise, my Asexual live channel. But I usually do, and I love to do an educational evening show, live chat show, where people can literally message anything in chat, like different questions, and I will answer them, but I always pick a topic and ad lib. So I'll talk about how to be a confident asexual, for example, how to self-care when you're asexual. But these topics are themes relevant to any sexuality and any person. So when I first started my channel, I would literally go and just talk about asexuality the whole time, and I would just usually do like one video a week, roughly, for 10 minutes talking about a topic to do asexuality. Now,
so this was on YouTube, the videos you were doing then?
Yeah, so the Asexualise Academy is separate to Asexualise My Asexual Life.
Yes, yeah, but that's
so
I think
on Asexualise My Asexual Life, I do educational content and I do lifestyle vlogs, entertainment and information. So at night I do a live chat show. That's my USP, unique selling point of my show, is I do a live chat show, often for an hour or more, talking about a topic related to asexuality but could be related to people in general. And I cover dating, relationships, confidence, self-love and self-care are my 5 main topics I cover.
So slow down a bit. You do that on YouTube?
Yeah, on Asexualise My Asexual Live YouTube show, yeah.
So that is a live chat show?
Live chat show, yeah. Broadcast live.
Whereas, just going back to the first bit, the platform, just mention the platform again that are doing the academy bit.
So the Asexualise Academy currently is hosted on Thinkific, but it's
Thinkific.
So my website.
Just to explore a little bit. So Thinkific have their own standards of what learning is and how to present learning, and whether it's subjective content. That's what's interesting, because you've got the word academy in it. In the title, and I'm interested in how learning happens online, because I know that a lot of higher education, for example, is moving online.
Right.
So I'm just interested in how that works.
Right. Okay.
And how you present academic content or allegedly objective or description of something, and then also campaign. Because a lot of what you say is definitely in a campaigning mode. You're making a point, but you're also saying that you're describing something as a source of knowledge about it.
So I own the website domain asexualizeacademy.com. That's my own domain, my own website.
Right.
But I don't host my courses on there.
Right.
So
okay.
when someone goes to that site, they fill in a form usually to join my newsletter if they want, but they redirect. So when you're doing tech stuff, right, you put a redirection on there to another website.
Right.
So when they fill in the form, they can either, because it's not compulsory they join my newsletter, that's optional. So they can join my newsletter, and whether they join it or not, or they can click no thanks, they then redirects to my course site. Now thinkific.com is the name of the platform that hosts my courses. Then you actually create your own unique domain name within their site. So they don't have the word Asexualise Academy apart from for my courses, because it's like thinkific.com. I can't remember the exact. I should remember. I can't remember the exact way they do it, but it's like thinkific.com/Asexualise Academy.
Yeah, I'm
So
sure. Yeah,
it's-
people can find it if they need to.
But if they go to asexualizeacademy.com, it automatically redirects to there.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
those.
Yes, and
And
that.
then I go free content on my Asexualise, my Asexual Life channel.
Yeah, no, I was just trying to understand. I mean, I might come back to it later on. That just how different things work. But as a platform, they've got their own criteria and their own methods of doing things.
Yeah, so you can put videos on there. You can upload PDFs on there for people to do workbooks and stuff like that. So whatever platform you decide to host your courses on, if it's not your own website, you've got to then abide by the guidelines of what they set of how they do the courses and the elements of the courses. So you'll have like much like a book, you'll have like the chapter, if you like, you'll have like the video, like the main title of the area of the content, and then you'll have the videos underneath it.
Right.
So, for example, like asexual spectrum would be like, this would be an area in the content, and then it would describe like the different parts of the asexual spectrum, like the difference between a grey asexual, for example, and a pure asexual, or different parts of the asexual spectrum, like what's the difference between a demi-romantic and a demisexual. This would all come under like parts of the asexual spectrum. So without going into the whole course details, there's different parts. So you have like a section of what the general description, like you do in a chapter, and then you have like it's like having subtitles off that.
Right.
Similar to a book in that way, if you understand what I mean.
Surely, yeah. No, that explains it, and I'll come back to how I think this relates to the university scene and so forth.
That'd be interesting.
Come back to that later on. But I think play another track.
Yeah.
So this next track is Montel Jordan.
This is how we do it. Yes, and I don't think of this in a sexual way. I just think of this as, high octane energy song.
So,
and I like clubbing, even though I'm asexual, so I really like club tracks.
Okay. This is the radio
So,
version. I've tweeted, or I'm about to tweet, the next book you've written, Diary Confessions of a Hyper-Romantic Asexual.
Yay. This was published last year. Bestseller.
And that's 78 life lessons.
To ace your life, yeah.
But it's all based on your own experience, this one.
Yes, so this is it's correct. So whereas Asexual Perspectives, I've interviewed 46 other asexuals, plus myself in Asexual Perspectives book, hence why there's 47 asexual stories in it. The Diary Confessions of a Hyper-Romantic Asexual, 78 Life Lessons to Ace Your Life, is an autobiographical diary from certain points in my life. And I had this waking vision of a guy who I thought was my soulmate, and I happened to meet this guy in real life about 2 weeks later, and it's the events that unfolded after that. So, and some other things, yeah. So it was all the life lessons I learned, and it also talks about behind the scenes of when I spoke for Blue Talks at Oxford University as well. So It's a very interesting book. The life lessons, literally in part of the book, I dissect text messages from a heterosexual guy, what he says in the text message and what he actually means. So for anyone who's interested in dating, relationships, psychology of relationships as well, there's a review on Amazon.com. There's a few reviews on Amazon.co.uk. Actually, it's from Amazon.co.uk, but they usually reviews usually go on .com as well. That says about it's a good book to do with the psychology of relationships. Yeah, even if you're not asexual. So it's all about like healthy relationships, attachment styles, and it's about being very self-aware of who you are. But it's all the life lessons you learn along the way of relationships that you can use in every aspect of your life, not just relationships usually. So I could always read some out, or you could, or I could get the book.
I'll pass the book back to you.
So yeah, so this book, so what is a life lesson? Life lesson 39. You can't make sense of people who don't make sense of themselves. So in relationships and dating, attraction is usually the first thing we have for someone before we really know them. But some people don't really understand themselves, and they try to seek a relationship with someone else to fill a void in their life or to fill a void with themselves. But if they haven't got to know themselves and understand themselves and what they like and they dislike, then they're not really going to be an effective team player in a relationship. And so this is like, if you are dating someone and they're confused about who they are and they're confused about their life, they don't know what they're doing, they don't know where they're going, that's not going to be a healthy relationship for you, because you can't be stable and secure with someone who's up and down and not stable and secure in themselves. And that's what the life lesson is all about. So it's really important that you choose the right friends for you, the right partner for you, the right connections for you, so you can have a more stable life. Because sometimes people are like, oh, well, you're in a relationship with that person and this is, you know, maybe some things have gone off and it's your fault because you're with that person. But it's like, instead of blaming yourself, you've got to realise that sometimes you're with the wrong person, not because there's anything necessarily wrong with you inherently, but because you choose people that are not self-aware and that are not secure within themselves and that literally don't have a direction. It's like you see on websites, I've got over 10 years online dating experience, by the way. You see on websites and they're like, oh, I don't really know what I'm looking for. It's like, if you don't know what you're looking for, then how do you know what you're aiming for? And if people are just going along and going, oh, anything goes, or I'm not fussy, that's not being intentional. To have healthy relationships, you've got to be very, very intentional. And if you're with someone who's up and down in their mannerisms, up and down in their mood, you can't be stable with someone like that. So it's better to look for someone who's more grounded, who understands themselves better, who's actually thought what type of person they want to be with in a relationship, how they would envision their life with a partner, not just someone who's like just looking for a good time, that type of thing. So, you know, I mean, I think it's very important. Even with friendships, you can pick someone who's a friend, but their moods are up and down all the time. They have mood swings, for example. Obviously, some people have disabilities and mental health conditions that can affect them like that, but you've got to understand that your life might be up and down because they're up and down. So you've either got to stabilise yourself and put boundaries in place and assert those boundaries, or you've got to be in situations that are going to serve you better with more people who've got more direction in their life and are more stable in what they want. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, also I can understand why the book is popular, because you're drawing this out of real situations.
Yeah. So this Diary Confessions for Hyper-Romantic Asexual is suitable for anyone of any sexual orientation, and it's literally taking the life lessons that I've learned from my own relationships, because I've sometimes ended up with guys who've not known what they want, and they've got mood swings and things like that, and they're like, one minute they're like, oh, I really, you know, they blow, some guys blow hot and cold, and they're like, I'm really into you, and then you're like, you know, I'm not bothering to message you for hours or days or whatever. And you can't be stable and secure with someone who's up and down. You need to have someone who knows what they want and how to build a life together. And so I've really honed in all these different life lessons. I mean, that's just one of them. There's like loads more throughout the book, which, you know, I could read more out, but I'm aware of the time. So
well, one more.
What one should I pick? What one should I pick? Life lesson 60. What some people frown upon and believe to be your weaknesses are often some of your greatest strengths. So don't listen to the naysayers, the people who don't understand you, and the people who don't recognise your unique gifts to the world. That's their problem, not yours. Just keep being unique you, because nobody does you better.
Right. Well, that sounds really good. I think the books, yeah, that I can see why. So for most people, that would be a good book to start with.
Very good, yeah. Especially whatever sexual orientation you are. If you're looking for a book about confidence, growing your confidence, growing your self-esteem, living an authentic life, Diary Confessions of a Hyperromantic is about that, because of all the life lessons. It will help you take those life lessons, apply them to multiple aspects of your life to live a much more happy life. I wished I'd known these life lessons when I was like 16, and had started having my first serious relationship, for example, and even throughout college and uni. I wished I'd had this book then, because it teaches things that are foundational to healthy relationships that I didn't know back then, and it would have saved me a lot of heartache and pain. So, and it's very, this is very good for self-esteem. It's all about understanding yourself and knowing that what other people might find as weaknesses in you and might say, oh, is not good in you, can be some of your great strengths. So don't listen to people who are just being negative about you. Lean into your gifts. So, for example, years ago, I was told I talk too much, which some of your listeners might still agree with. But
right, okay.
If I wasn't able to talk, then I wouldn't be able to be here, would I, right now?
No, well, just introduce the next track then. How about that?
So, this is Cher, Believe.
You're listening to Phonic FM, Exeter's sound alternative.
So, that was another version of Live in Joy.
Yay, because we love living in joy.
We do. Sandra Bellamy's here, and if you haven't been listening for the whole hour, which you probably haven't, this is the We Don't Know show on Phonic FM, and we've covered pretty well the two books, the main content. Just give a quick summary.
So the Asexual Perspectives, 47 Asexual Stories, Love, Life and Sex, A Celebration of Asexual Diversity book. That is a book that, if you're new to asexuality and the asexual spectrum, explains asexuality in real life context told through the stories of the asexual individuals in the book. So these are from different ethnic backgrounds, different countries, and different parts of the asexuality spectrum. So if you've got any questions about asexuality, or you're interested in it, or you think a relative or friend or family member might be asexual, Asexual Perspectives is definitely the book to get. And Diary Confessions of a Hyperromantic Asexual, 78 Life Lessons to Asexual Life is a very important book. So if you're looking to get into a relationship, if you're looking to date, and you're looking to just live a better quality of life with better relationships with people in general, I definitely say get the Diary Confessions of a Hyperromantic Asexual book, because I'm very raw and real in it. It's like my own personal diary book, but it's the 78 life lessons I learn throughout having different dating experiences with guys that are very important for how to live your life authentically, but in a way that is safe for you in relationships. It basically is to teach people how to have healthier relationships and look to people who are going to be good and better for them, and how to improve themselves as well, and how to dissect text messages from what people say and what people actually mean, which is so important, because most people these days are dating online. They're not dating in person, they're still dating online, and it's getting more and more popular, and it's kind of a minefield out there, because there's a lot of people that aren't actually that serious, although these guys are guys I met in real life. So there's a lot of self-empowerment in there as well. So they're both available on Amazon, and you should be able to order them from all good bookshops as well. So
now I'd like to move on more to the tech aspects and the social media aspects, and how you do it. So just to explain again for people who missed it about an hour ago, we met at the Tech Exeter breakfast. Tech Exeter is a sort of social networking group and presentation group for techie people around Exeter or within range of Exeter. And one of the things they do is a breakfast at the Innovation Hub, first Thursday of every month. And it's just a general chat, really. There's sometimes a short presentation from somebody, but it's basically people to meet up. And it happens to be during the drama show, and I've worked out I can get there, have a bit of a chat and come back again if I put on about an hour of something during the drama show. So I'm interested in how we eventually get to radio or social media or something spreading throughout the city, that the studio and the cafe or the conversation is all connected somehow. And this is working quite well, because we're actually just spending 2 hours in a studio, so it's not exactly just dropping a phone into a Tech Extra breakfast.
Yeah.
But there's something, maybe we'll work out ways in between. So how did you get involved with Tech Exeter, and what sort of methods have you used promoting your books and what you're trying to do?
Right, so there's 2 questions there. One is how did I get involved with Tech Exeter, and the other is to do with how did I about promoting my books. Well, I was promoting my books and doing my channel before I joined Tech Exeter, if you like. So Tech Exeter I actually went to a number of years ago, but I only went to a couple of their events, and so I was more interested in the digital side of tech, such as social media and how to use tech to promote the work you do, to educate people in your audience, to grow an audience. So Tech Exeter used to have 2 sides to them before. One was like the digital side and one was the main Tech Exeter side. So they used to have both together. So it was a digital aspect I used to be very interested in back then. I was known as a top social media marketing voice on LinkedIn last year, so I've grown exponentially over the years myself in that respect, and I can tell your listeners some more about that in a minute. So with Tech Exeter, I actually came back in the last year or so with them. Might have been a little bit longer, because talking about Diary Confessions of a Hyper-Romantic Asexual again, basically I got involved I was dating, online dating. I told you I was doing that for 10 years, and last year I had a relationship with a guy that didn't work out, and during that time I decided that I was going to take a break from dating, because I've been online dating for 10 years and hadn't met the right guy, and so I was looking for meetup groups to connect with like-minded people instead of focusing on dating and outward things like getting a relationship, which is kind of a bit more, although it's to do with you personally, it's also to do with an outsider, another person. Whereas I thought I needed to focus more on myself, so I needed to stop online dating and get myself more in a healthier state of mind where I connected with like-minded people and growed my self-esteem and confidence, and went to meetup groups with my own interests. Now I have a serious interest in tech. So from a kid I've always been interested in robots, for example. I've always had a fascination with robots, and which is great for the modern age. So I've always loved seeing robotic movies and stuff like that. And then I thought years ago, so this is how I've changed over the years, I thought I was no good at tech, and I could never build websites, and I could, I wasn't tech savvy. I was more like, not good at stuff like that. And then years ago, when I was helping redundant workers, I taught myself how to use a website. I spent hours and days and weeks and months teaching myself how to use like an old site builder. I think it was RV Site Builder back in the day. And I started a WordPress.com blog. So WordPress.com is a free WordPress rather than WordPress.org. I started quirkybooks.wordpress.com blog in 2010. I still have that blog to this day, which has got very good SEO on it. And so basically I grew that blog just for my own benefit of finding my own writing voice. And then over the years I progressed to working for the Sony Centre in Exeter years ago, and that's how I got better and better at tech during that time.
So you're doing a website for them?
No, I worked at that time. I wasn't self-employed, I was an employee. I worked for the Sony Centre in Exeter.
Okay.
And back then, this is in 2011, I was scared to go on social media. So now I'm all over social media. On
Yes.
Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, all over social media. Back in 2011, I was actually scared to be on social media. I didn't even have a Facebook account back at that time. Right, I was so scared because I'm like, oh my god, I'm going to get trolls, what are people going to think of me, blah blah blah. I had all these limiting beliefs, if you like, and I knew that if I wanted to have a bigger voice in the world, because I like writing and I wanted to get my books out in the future, I knew that if I wanted to have a bigger voice in the world, I just knew that I was going to have to get out of my comfort zone and dive into social media. So in 2012 I created my Facebook profile, which I have to this day, and instead of putting it on private, I decided quite soon afterwards to put it on public and be brave. And so instead of being like how can I put it, being inward, I decided to do the opposite. I thought, right, what I want to do is lay everything out on the table across social media, because people fear social media because of what people say about them and what people find out about them that isn't true, or that's the perception of them will be wrong, because there's a lot of social media is about perception. So I decided to go the opposite and be very, very authentic, raw and real, and open my life up to the world, so that not many people can get anything on me, if you like, because I'm such an open book. So I found being open with other people online allows you to connect with people who also want authenticity and who crave realism in a world of social media that's just trying to look glorified all the time. And I've kind of carried that throughout the years, and I've got more and more tech savvy and more good with social media, so that I was able to, on Twitter, I joined Twitter years ago, and one of my books is on Twitter actually from years ago, and I grew like a following on there, and I engaged a lot on there. And then I've progressed more into YouTube since 2015, but I grew in confidence. And then the Tech Exeter, when I was at a point in my life last year when I thought I don't want to be on dating sites anymore, I'm like, well, what do you love, Sandra? I'm like, well, I love tech. I can't code websites. I love people talking about coding. I love talking about technology, and I use technology in what I do to promote my work. So basically, I'll give value in my YouTube show. So I'll do an educational content video, usually sort of in the evening, like late night chat show. I do some snippets from that as well. I've got a social media auto posting tool that posts my videos then out to different social media. So I'll do like a main educational content show, and during that time, a lot of the time I'll then talk about the books. Like if you want to know more about asexuality, get my Asexual Perspectives book out on Amazon. So instead of being like a sleazy salesperson and go and buy my book, I'll give valuable content, and insights and things they can apply in their life, like life lessons throughout the show, if you like, and then say, if you want more of these, then get this book. So it's kind of a natural progression. But I do something called Asexual Perspectives Awareness Month every year. That was something an idea I got myself, which other people don't usually do. So if you listen to it, it's like, oh, if you're an author, you can do this. And basically every year I focus that whole month on the book, predominantly the book. And I take excerpts out of the book and I talk about the book, and then say, if you want to find out more information, then get the whole book. So you give like little snippets, and then you present the whole idea of getting the whole thing to them, stuff like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, so just my memory of it, like the Tech Exeter, there was a digital Exeter as well, which was more, as you said, was more the sort of marketing end of it.
Yeah, and social media.
So that's where you started.
Yeah.
And now you're having it sounds like you're having the same sort of conversation, but within Tech Exeter with a wider scope.
Yeah, so now I feel like I'm kind of a social media more expert myself. So when I go to the Tech Extra, I'm more likely talking to people when I'm networking, talking about how I grew my YouTube channel, for example. Like I've had over 1,100,000 views now on my Asexualise, my Asexual Life channel, which is a niche. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And I never dreamt in a million years I'd get that many views. So I talk to people in the Tech Extra events. I talk to them a lot about what I do, like my YouTube channel, how my stats are, because they want to know how your stats are, how I use social media. For example, Whisper Transcribe is an AI tool that breaks up my bigger videos into shorter videos, so I put some of them on my YouTube channel now and stuff like that.
Right.
So when I'm in conversation networking, I say what I do with my asexual books and my asexual platform, and then I talk about the tech side of it with people. So I end up talking about social media to them rather than going to the tech expert to get the technical side, the digital side, I should say, of the tech side.
Right.
I then talk to people and network with them about the tech experience they have, whereas I have like the social media experience, if you know what I mean. But I just love talking about tech. It enlightens me. It makes me feel great. So I love being around tech people. It's innovative, it's creative, it's like a very energetic vibe, and it goes with my personality.
Right. Well, look, we haven't lined up the tracks properly. I think this is going to be another share track, but I'm not quite sure.
Ooh.
But we'll come back. I'd like to talk about radio and online learning, just as sort of applications of these trends. But I'm going to play some music first of all, and we'll come back to this a bit later. That was Cher again. I wanted to let's start with radio, but there's a few other areas where I think these trends are going to have an effect on what's going on. So radio, you have worked on hospital radio, and you've been involved in that as well.
Yeah, I was involved in Hospital Radio Exeter, and also when I was at Torquay College, Radioactive it was called, in Torbay. I was involved in that as well. I was presenting there as well.
But at this time, mostly you're working from home, creating podcasts and doing YouTube chat shows, let's say, more or less direct.
Yeah, so I'm on YouTube more than anything. So some of my YouTube shows are turned into podcasts and put on YouTube Music, for example, but most of my content is visual, so it's on YouTube, and I create short videos on there and live streams predominantly, and sometimes short videos as well, pre-made.
So what do you think is going to happen with radio and to some extent television? You can see that people are watching streaming platforms rather than broadcast as we've known it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't actually watch TV. I gave up TV years ago, and there's a reason for that. It's because the news, for example, is very, very bad for the mind. I talk about this in my Fibromyalgia Self-Help Handbook, which is another book we haven't talked about yet.
Well, we'll get to it later.
So actually, I don't watch the news on purpose because it's really bad. It instills fear into the mind. On purpose. So this is what I've learned in my personal profession. So I don't even have a TV license anymore.
So you're saying that the normal TV news is bad for the mind?
Yes.
It's brain rot. Whereas if you listen to the Today programme, they want to confiscate phones off kids because social media is such a disaster. Some would say.
Like I actually used to teach for the NHS how to recover from mental ill health using social media as an asset, which I don't think you knew about me. So I
didn't know that.
Yeah, I was actually employed by them, self-employed, and then employed by them on the staff bank as a peer trainer with lived experience of mental health. So it was called the Recovery Learning Community, which is part of the NHS, and they had to have 2 trainers per course. One was someone who's like well, the guy I was teaching with was from Mind, the mental health
yes,
organisation, and then I was the person with lived experience, because I have lived experience of anxiety and in the past depression as well. And so I used to teach people how to use blogging to recover from mental health, and also I went on to teach Facebook and Twitter at that time, and it's how to use social media for the good. So there's loads of people that talk badly about social media, but if you use it in the right way, it can actually enhance your mental health. It depends how you're using it. If you're going on sites that, for example, if for example you're a trans person, but you're going on website pages or Facebook pages that have got comments that are anti-trans, for example, then that's not going to make you feel good. That's going to make you feel really bad, right? But if you're going on social media and you're in supportive groups, for example on Facebook, for trans rights and other people like yourself that understand you, that's going to make you feel much better because you're around people like-minded who are supporting you. So it's how to use social media in a good way, and I think that's what needs to be taught in schools, really, how to use social media effectively to enhance your mental health and enhance you feeling good about yourself. I could mention as well that recently I had a girl come on my Asexualise, my Asexual Life channel, it was a chat show I was doing late at night on in March. Olivia's her name. Hello Olivia, if you're listening right now. And she's only 12 years old. Now, you can't have a YouTube channel if you're 12 and set it up yourself. You have to have like a parent doing it for you, otherwise you can't do it, obviously, because of age restrictions. But she is unfortunately being bullied at school, and I gave her like contact numbers of organisations she could contact to try and help her. She told me in chat live in front of everyone that the teachers won't do anything because they say they can't see the bullies doing it. And unfortunately, with our family situation is such that they can't do anything about this bullying. Now, while I wish so much I could do something personally about this, I don't know which school she goes to, and you know, there's nothing I can personally do about it because I'm not involved directly in her life. But I told her, in a world like with the bullies that's trying to drown your voice out, what you should do is use your voice on YouTube and make your voice heard. So when you are, because I used to be bullied at school, so I really related to what she was saying, although she's autistic, and I think that's partly why she gets bullied. And I have autistic friends, and they should not be bullied. They've got a lot of special qualities and gifts. Their mind works in unique, beautiful ways, and they're able to accomplish things that an average person without that intelligence could not actually do. And in my opinion, this is my personal opinion, not medical professional, even though I've worked with the NHS. And so, yeah, so I told her to use her voice. I said, you know, I know your voice is not heard at school. I know your voice is being drowned out, you know, by the bullies. I said, so go on YouTube and use your voice and make it heard. And she is excelling now. She's nearly already up to 50 subscribers. When she gets there, she's going to do a live stream. She's copying my methodology in the sense of, I do videos about my daily life. And I literally just do short videos, like lifestyle vlogs constantly. And so on YouTube, you can be really professional, do polished thumbnails, put videos out there, all this latest tech, if you like, or you can be like me, raw, real, authentic, and consistently put out content of your daily life and document your life, which is a really good method, even if it's raw, real. And that's what she's doing, raw, real. So she's took the idea of doing raw, real content about her daily life, you know, as a school kid, and all the artwork she does, like she does incredible artwork and stuff like that, and she's done a lot of stuff relevant to her age that's obviously got nothing to do with what content I cover, and she's made it her own, and she's already got 100 videos on there, nearly, you know, 50 subs, and she's also got over 13,000 views already since the 1st of March, and she's just sailing away. And you know, and she's doing so well, and I want, you know, that's what can be achieved. But so many adults are like scared of social media. They're scared of going on it. They're scared of their children going on it for the bad stuff. But this is the good stuff she's doing. She's empowering herself. She's giving herself a voice. She's growing an audience, and she's coming into her own. You know, I wished when I was 12 and I was being bullied at school that I had this advice from someone. You know, use your voice where people want to hear it and where it makes you feel empowered. And the YouTube channel is like her own thing she can control when she feels out of control at school through what these people are doing, unfortunately. So does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense. But can I just bring you back? Maybe there's no simple answer, but my query was what we can do with radio, because I think Phonic FM, for example, a lot of the people have got social media associated with each show, and Phonic's got its own social media, and places like Mixcloud and YouTube, aspects of the shows are repeated or clips are taken out and so forth. But I don't think we're doing a lot of it, and certainly radio as a format hasn't evolved as much as maybe it needs to, because whether or not phones are available to people in schools, there's a lot of evidence that they are watching a lot of stuff online. So there's no doubt that's where the viewing is going. So I don't know if I don't know you can't be expected to offer an instant solution to this, but I just wonder where you think radio and television, or people who depend on that, where that whole scene can be going.
A lot of it's going online, isn't it? Whether we like it or not, that's the problem. But I think there'll always be people who want community stuff because they like to feel part of something bigger than they are, if you know what I mean.
Sure.
So I don't know if the future is like having a radio station like with a cafe integrated into the same building or something. You know, maybe you could have like this is me being really creatively thinking, maybe you could have like a radio station cafe where, I don't know, you say that if they come into the cafe then they can actually come as a guest on the show or something like that, I don't know, or they could ask for requests from the radio station while they're in the cafe and stuff like that, like innovative ideas like that.
So that was for a local. I mean, Phonic, we've now got a DAB signal which is it covers Plymouth and Torbay as well, but it started with an aerial or broadcast on the roof of the Phoenix, so it could just reach the area immediately around the Phoenix when the basement is for the studio. So it's very local. And obviously there's a cafe and a bar in the Phoenix, so that's sort of close to what you're saying.
Yeah, I once went to like a Butlins, and they had a very innovative. They had like a radio station on the actual Butlins site live, so
right.
You could pop in there and ask for radio requests.
Right.
In between going around Butlins, if you know what I mean. So it's like more relevant to the people there. It's like more of an entertainment thing, I guess.
Sure.
So that obviously. That was funded by the actual Butlins itself. So I was talking about funding.
Right.
You get concessions in stores. There might need to be more like a radio station within stores where they've got a little if you want to talk about funding, they might need to be actually in another bigger environment, so that it's not so costly, if you know what I mean. But in terms of like reach, all radio stations should be online, which I think they are these days, aren't they?
Mostly.
But with a lot of people consuming like content free on YouTube and stuff like that, then obviously a lot more people expect things to be free, don't they? Which I guess is another issue. What do you think?
Well, yeah, I think that's the direction. I just don't know the mechanics of how to do it. I mean, you are very successful in your YouTube channel, and it's partly because you concentrate on a particular topic and it's got a clear name, and so if you're consistent with that, people know what to expect from that channel. The problem, I think, for Phonic is it's got a very wide variety of genres of music, and the speech content is so various, it just spins off now and again more or less at random.
Yeah.
So this YouTube idea of a dedicated channel which is known for something and will attract subscribers because it's consistently dropping a podcast on that topic every 4 days or something, it's quite difficult for most people to maintain that.
Yeah, so I've actually expanded. So I just used to focus on asexuality, but now I've expanded into doing lifestyle vlogs as well of all different things in my life, because I realised that for me personally, if I was going to continue enjoying broadcasting and putting my show out, I wanted to create a different content, not just educational, but ones about my asexual life, so people can see the struggles of asexuality on a daily basis and what I get up to. So I do a lot of videos about food I eat. If I go out to an aquarium, for example, I'll film different bits of the aquarium so people get like entertainment with the aquarium. I'll take video footage of the zoo, because I went to the zoo and aquarium for my birthday recently, so I'll take videos of that, just little short videos for people. So it's more, it's because I find that being niched down first of all works really well, and then broadening works good to attract more people who want different things.
Okay, well maybe that's our top tip.
Yeah.
Maybe we should start with a niche, and then once people are subscribed, they'll find all sorts of things turn up.
Yeah, I mean, because I call it Asexualise my asexual life, like I'm sharing all different aspects of my life, so it is covered under the title. So I think when you are if you're doing a specific show, you need a title that reflects what all the content is about. So I like the fact, for example, Phonic FM is about Exeter's sound alternative, but then you expect to have alternative sound, but what is alternative to other people? Because you need to know what they're currently listening to, how this is alternative to the norm, if you know what I mean. But obviously the conversation is alternative, which could be maybe enhanced more. It's not just like Exeter's sound alternative and talk alternative as well. That's the niche, probably the unique selling point is the fact you talk about lots of different things. So maybe people need to understand more about the different types of programs and how they can find what they're looking for within your program schedule more. I don't know, like being on social media and having little snippets of different presenters talking about their shows more, and maybe having their own individual Facebook pages as well, that type of thing.
Yeah.
I know you've got your own YouTube channel, so you're doing well there.
Yes. But I think it's too various. But anyway, that's for me to think about.
Yeah.
Look, we're running out. We're going to run out of time imminently. I will play another track, and then we'll just work out what we'll do. I think perhaps we'll risk how long we go on for. We've only got one studio, Phonic, so we've got to tidy up a little bit before 12 o'clock.
Is that for the next presenter?
That's for the next presenter. But explain. This is. Is
that the one you've got?
Enrique
Or
Iglesias.
have you got the Ricky
Yeah,
Martin?
that one. Sorry, I've got Ricky Martin. Yeah.
Yeah, Private Emotion. This one's called.
I think just quickly, we are going to run out of time very soon. It seems to me that education, has got a similar problem or situation to what we said was going on with radio and television. So you've already described how learning platforms do exist, and to some extent are working. But you don't think people would give up completely on a campus or a school? They'd need to meet up sometimes.
Yeah, we were discussing this earlier, weren't we? A lot of people like to go to uni to socialise. Actually, University of Exeter, I think, does have its own radio show, doesn't it, still?
They've got their own radio station,
yeah.
And the Digital Humanities Lab has got a studio as well.
Wow. So what I was trying to say is that students, I think, will always want the social aspect, the in-person social aspect. I think being at home can be very isolating, cut off. I think more and more courses will go online. From what I understand, more and more courses are actually going online, but some can be done, like, obviously by Zoom these days as well. I think, like, they can have like lectures put somewhere, like on a platform, and then they can do like live lectures using Zoom, for example, now, which is an online platform as well. So that obviously changes the landscape of study. But I think people will always want to actually have that in-person contact. Look at cafes and restaurants; they're doing really well, especially lots of cafes and bars, because people want to have the social aspect of meeting people in real life. It's like an experience now that's getting more rare, so more people want it, if you know what I mean.
Right, sure. Well, that does seem to be true. Since lockdown, the cafes have taken over the city centre, pretty much.
And I think that's why, because people crave that in-person contact and connection. Being online is not enough, and the more people work from home, the more isolated they feel, the more they want to go out. That's why a lot of people meet at the Tech Extra event, isn't it? Because a lot of us are working from home on whatever we're doing. We want to meet people in real life and connect with human beings. Do you know what I mean?
Right, sure.
Which is a benefit of radio. You know, you're hearing a real person, the here and now as well.
Yes, that makes perfect sense. And I think that discussion will carry on around Tech Exeter and the university as well. The Tech Exeter conference is usually held at the business school, and the breakfast is at the innovation hub. And I'm sure the university is talking about this sort of thing as well. So that's going to be interesting. I think we should finish about 10:02, and I want to play one more track.
Okay.
Because I know that
Jonathan?
John likes. Yeah, it's all right. I'm just lining up this track. I know that John likes this track. John Mayhew's listening. I believe. If not, I'll play this to him later on. He's normally part of the show. Just mention the last book, which I've got in front of me. Sorry, you'll have to read that.
So my other book is called Fibromyalgia Self-Help Handbook: How to Manage Fibromyalgia, Have Less Pain, More Energy, and Feel Happier like a Superhero Rock Star. So this is an autobiographical account of how I managed fibromyalgia, which is an unseen disability. It's a chronic pain condition that affects the nerves and muscles of the body, and the whole book is told, I should say, in a superhero style. It's even got a picture of me in my Ace Fibro Girl outfit at the back. But basically, this book is relevant to anyone, even if you have fibromyalgia or not, because it tells you how to reduce pain in 25 aspects of your life, most of which apply even if you don't have fibromyalgia. And it talks about all your different external environments and your internal environments, which obviously I'll leave that as intrigue for you to get the book, and how to manage them effectively to reduce your pain. And so, yeah, if you've got a fibromyalgia condition, or you want basically a personal development book, autobiographical book in disguise as a fibromyalgia self-help handbook, grab a copy of Fibromyalgia Self-Help Handbook on Amazon. They'll do you wonders.
Okay. Look, I'm sorry to move on. I'm just saying that I know John's listening. I'm just going to make that a general purpose book about confidence, and hoping John will be back on the show at some point. And I hope you can come back on the show as well. And so we'll talk about different aspects of why people have confidence and are articulate, and the radio can help in the same way that social media can help.
Yes, definitely.
And also because I'm if I've got the right track lined up, this is Enrique Iglesias.
Yes, and
I know that John likes this track as well.
Yeah, I love Enrique Escape. Very good singer.
And so that was the We Don't Know show. We'll stop after this track and go back to the playout system and sort ourselves out.
Thank you for having me.
Exactly. Yes, I think it's been excellent. You've explained everything about your books, the technology that you use, and you've given us some clues for radio as well.
Yay!
So that's everything I was hoping for.
Oh, thank you.
So thanks very much for coming.
Thank you, Will. Thank you. Don't forget to check out my Asexualise, my Asexual Life channel, people.
We'll put. What's the easiest place? Do you think the YouTube is the easiest place to go to?
Yeah, because in the description it has links to like my website and things like that. So
just say it one more time.
So my website is called asexualise.com, and my channel is called Asexualise, my Asexual Life. And Asexual Perspectives, 47 Asexual Stories is my asexual book, and Diary Confessions of a Hyper-Romantic Asexual.
Okay. I think they'll find it.
I think they will.
You're listening to Phonic FM, Exeter's sound alternative.